Hello and welcome to the Spark Accounting Solutions Show. I'm Jenny Q. I'm excited to be here today to maybe end some confusion, of course, with the help of Julie Babcock-Height. She is the founder of Spark Accounting Solutions. She's also a CPA, CFM, profit first professional. I could go on and on and on. But anyway, let's make some sense, Julie, shall we, of the CARES Act for home service providers, because this is it's a little bit crazy making from where I'm sitting.
There's a lot. This bill had a lot of stuff in it. And so today I kind of want to go over like the things that I get asked the most questions about. And I laugh all the time because it feels like it's a moving target, because once we think we know an answer, there's a new FAQ out from the SBA, or there's an additional round of funding, or it's a moving target.
Well, yes. And I know that people like you and all the numbers people out there, whether they're at banks or at PayPal or at different companies, are working tirelessly to make sense of it to share with the rest of us. So thank you for doing that. And let's just go ahead and get started.
Let's do this. One of the questions that everybody's asking is like, when am I going to get my stimulus check? A bunch of people got it in the last week or so. A bunch of people have been going to the IRS website to figure out what their status is. And it said, hey, we can't determine your eligibility. And people are like, what's going on with this? And the IRS is pretty close to us tax professionals to help people. So let's talk a little bit about that. If you want to know the status of your stimulus check. So this is the $1,200 for singles, $2,400 for married couples, an additional $500 per kiddo. That's coming to you personally, not to your business. So your employees may be worried about this. You may be worried about this as a business owner. But that place to go check and see the status is if you go to irs.gov, there is a little button that says get my payment. Click that button and it'll go and you'll put in your social security number, your address, a couple other little things, and then it'll tell you whether you're eligible, when your money's coming or not. If you're getting the message that they can't determine your eligibility, it just means they haven't gotten to you yet. They've solved that for a lot of people, but if it's getting that message, you still are not going to get a date or anything. Once you get beyond that, that says we've determined you're eligible and we need your bank account information, you can go ahead and put in your bank account information so that stimulus check can be direct deposited. But some people are not going to get this because they're going to phase out. It seems like they're doing it for lower income people before higher income people. So they're rolling it out over time. Some people are still going to get paid via check. The big fiasco with this was that for people that used a refund advance situation, or maybe they had their tax preparer paid out of their refund. The places that administer those set up a special separate bank account that's part of that bank product. And so these stimulus checks were going to those special bank product accounts, which, doesn't get to the hands of the people who need it. So if that happened to you, I think most of those places are sending the money back to the IRS, and then the IRS is either getting new information or sending a check. But yeah, it's been every step that we've gone through this CARES Act. It seems like everything's had a little bit of a uh-oh moment.
Well, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, it was, emergency situation and, all the moving pieces and so much detail. I want to make sure that I have this right before I post it. It's go to irs.gov, click get my payment, and then enter info.
Yes, that is
perfect. I'm going to go ahead and share that right now. Perfect.
Perfect.
All right.
So that's something everybody's been asking me about, employees and business owners. So the next one is primarily business owners that are asking me about this, which is the Paycheck Protection Program loans. These are the forgivable loans that are meant to help cover your payroll for the 8 weeks after you get funded. The first round of money ran out within a few days. I want to say it was about 10 days. It may have been longer than that. It may have been 13, but
I have a hunch you're not really sleeping much the last month with trying to keep up with all this and the tax season and the everything.
It's been a lot, and we've really been trying to ultimately support our clients through this. And so we've been doing what we need to do to help them because they're doing what they need to do to survive right now too. And the thing to remember, like most of our home service provider clients are essential.
Mm-hmm.
And they are still working. Some of them have less work because they're just doing essential
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still out there in the day to day of this. And so we really want to support them because they're out. I mean, they get to leave their house and they have to leave their house,
Or
right?
have to leave their house, depending
Exactly.
on the way you look at it. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're really trying to help them get through this. But let's talk about those Paycheck Protection Program loans. So yesterday there was additional 310 billion of funding that was added to the available funds for this. In addition, because of kind of the uproar with the first round and some of the bigger companies that got these loans and then gave the money back,
Right.
saying that that money became available too. Um, so again, like I said, like it seems like everything that's going on around this is having some little problems. So yesterday, the banks were up in arms because they were having a very hard time getting these applications transmitted.
Mm.
And so the feedback has been, oh, well, we put some pacing mechanisms on to make the distribution of the lenders and the locations and everything a little bit more fair this time. But what's happening is a lot of the local banks and bankers are working, 14, 18-hour
Mm-hmm.
days, multiple shifts themselves to try to get these loans to go through, and they're not able to get hardly any through. And so I have no idea who's going to get funded, who's not going to get funded. Like I just literally before I hopped on this got an email from a client that was like, I got funded, I got approved. And so it's just, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right. And I was actually going to share with you, I got a message from one of my friends who's a business owner who applied from the beginning, and she also got approved today. So we don't know if that funding is from the additional funding from yesterday, or if it's from the money that was
Truthfully.
returned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The original round, the banks had about 10 days after 10 days after the SBA approved it to get the loan funded.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started over again yesterday. And so it's been crazy. The purpose of this is to help pay payroll for those businesses that are still open.
Mm-hmm.
One of the conversations, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we get to the unemployment piece, is gosh, should I be laying my people off or should I be getting this PPP loan? Which one should I do?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get down to unemployment, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the concerns about that and some of the things you should be thinking about, which one is right for you. But I think the message on these PPP loans is that there's still going to be people that want and need these that aren't going to get these in this round.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're in a situation where you really don't know what to do financially, definitely reach out to your financial team, to your accountant, to your banker, and have them help you come up with a cash flow plan. So how far can you make it? What if your revenue drops, 50%? Can you still make it? Who can you keep on? Who can you not keep on? And make a plan around that.
All right. All right. Great advice.
My last piece on this is if you did get this loan,
Yeah.
again, talk to your professionals so you know what the qualified uses of this money are. It's payroll, it's utilities, it's rent. And make sure you know what documentation you need to be keeping
Mm.
so that when it comes time to do the forgiveness calculations, you've got the data there and ready for you.
Okay. That's also another great tip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. You don't want to mess that piece up. You don't want to mess the documentation for forgiveness. You don't want to mess that piece up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this whole moving target thing, we are still expecting additional guidance from the SBA on
Okay.
what's going to be required for forgiveness.
Okay.
So this is kind of one of those situations where you start your game of Monopoly and you're going to get the rules later and hopefully not
Oh,
go to jail, right?
that's reassuring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to economic injury disaster loans.
Okay, these loans, about the same time that the Paycheck Protection Program ran out of funds, the appropriation lapsed for this as well. They did put
Mm.
additional money into this fund this week, but they're still not taking new applications. But what we are seeing is people who did the initial applications for these loans are getting their advances showing up in their bank accounts. And a couple reminders on that. That again is kind of a working capital advance that should be it should be like a grant that is your money. However, if you got the Paycheck Protection Program loan, that EIDL advance is going to reduce the amount of forgiveness that you get on your PPP loan. We're going to just talk in letters for the rest of this time.
Welcome
But
to the acronym show.
yes, exactly. But so what those, everybody was like, oh, you're going to get a $10,000 grant, $10,000 grant when these EIDL advances started applying for them. But what they've turned into is basically $1,000 per employee.
Mm.
So if you see a magic number show up in your account that's from the SBA, and it's an even multiple of $1,000, that's probably what it is.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Let's skedaddle to the next one.
Let's talk about unemployment expansion.
Yes.
There's a couple different ways this can help small business owners and their employees. And I want to really think through this. And I want to go back to this. Should I do the PPP or should I lay people off? And so as you're thinking about this, think about a few things. Number one, if you can literally not be open right now, looking at this unemployment option for your employees may be a good place to look, especially if you can't get the PPP. There are businesses that can't get the PPP, or even if they can come back and open a little bit, they don't have enough work to bring everybody back full time. So this unemployment, there was an expansion of unemployment associated with the CARES Act. So people that are getting unemployment now have usually never qualified before. So they've got unemployment expansion for self-employed people, for independent contractors, even part-time people that used to not be eligible. Now, that being said, most of those people have not been able to collect yet. They've also added a federal piece on top of the state piece of an additional $600 per week. So one of the things that's happening to these businesses that got the PPP loans, if they maybe had lower paid employees, they're making more money suddenly off of unemployment plus this extra $600 a week than they were before. And when the business is saying, okay, I got the PPP loan, come back to work, I'm going to pay you. Some of the employees are saying,
I'm good. I've seen articles on that. And it was like that one business owner said, what world do we live in that I'm now competing with unemployment?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's crazy. And it's hard. I mean, and as an employer, like you're trying to take care of your employees, but somebody else is taking care of them better than you right now. And so that's something that you kind of have to weigh in because if you offer those folks their job back and they don't take it back, it may affect their eligibility for unemployment.
Ooh.
So that's something else to think through. So as you're weighing all of this, you have to really think about that and figure out, what is the best thing? Am I still going to be in business? Are my employees going to be better off on unemployment? If I got the PPP and there's people that don't want to come back, how do I still get forgiveness on the PPP and respect where these people are at? It's a whole balancing act right now. And this is another area that like really thinking through strategy is going to be like important to make sure you get it right.
And even more so, I would say beyond thinking through strategy, getting the right advisor to help you with that thinking.
Absolutely. It's tricky. It's really tricky. And, we've been having meetings with some of our clients trying to figure out, okay, how do we maximize forgiveness? This is how much our loan was. How are we going to play this out? Who do we bring back? Who do we not bring back? who do we bring in for a special project that maybe that isn't an ongoing thing, but it's something that we need a special project for right now. Looking at all of that is tricky. So
Yeah.
make sure you play out the scenarios with somebody that can really help you think through it.
Right. And is more objective because you have relationships with your employees and you want to take care of them. And it's
Exactly.
probably very hard to have the complete objectivity, even if you understood all the facts.
Yes. And it's really hard too to be dealing with employees that are like, no, thanks.
I'm good.
Because most entrepreneurs would rather work 80 hours a week for themselves than 40 for somebody else and get paid less to do it. And so most entrepreneurs have a little bit different mindset than most of our employees, and so trying to relate to where those employees are coming from is hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Good. Really good point. Okay. Number 5, employee retention credit. What is that? Is it called the ERC? Just
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
You can call it that. I usually call it the employee retention credit because it's not as well known as
Okay.
the PPP and the EIDL.
Fair enough.
So this is for those of you that are keeping employees that have suffered a loss in revenue and did not get a PPP loan.
Okay.
This may be something that can help you out. This can give you up to a 50% credit up to $5,000 off of your payroll taxes. And I believe it's a refundable credit. And so they're looking at businesses that were hurt financially, that did not get the PPP loan. How do we help them continue to pay their employees? And this is the other alternative that they came up with. It's definitely not as exciting as when somebody tells you could get a forgivable loan. So it hasn't gotten as much press as everything else.
Right.
But this is out there and it's a real thing. So if you don't get the PPP loan and you are keeping your employees on and you have suffered a loss in revenue, talk to your accountant about this. Talk to your payroll provider about this. Find out if this is something that you can take advantage of.
All right. Makes perfect sense. Okay. And now we come to deferral of employer share of Social Security tax.
Again, this is not as exciting as a forgivable loan or a $10,000 grant. It's just not. And so a lot of people haven't talked about this stuff.
Right.
But employers do have the option right now, if they want to wait and pay the employer's portion of Social Security, only the employer's portion, only Social Security, they can wait and pay it at a later time. You could get to pay it over 2021 and 2022. So you can actually, it's not going to be a ton of money. Remember, employer's portion of Social Security taxes usually 6.2% of your gross pay for your employees. So it's not millions of dollars, but if you need that little bit of extra money right now, it's one way that you can hold on to it and kind of get a loan from the government a different way.
Yeah. Well, the conversations that I've had with small business owners is at this point, every little bit is helping, like every little bit. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's a little something.
It's another option. Exactly.
Yeah. And so to wrap this all up, what is the best thing that a home service provider business could do, in your opinion, as the next step?
I think the most important thing is really make sure you are talking to your accountant right now, and that you're getting advice about which of these programs is right for you, which you've qualified for. If you've taken advantage of any of these, make sure you let them know so that they can help you manage that money in a way that's compliant with the intended use of it. They have talked about criminal fraud charges for doing the wrong thing with this money, and none of us look good in orange or horizontal stripes.
Orange is not the new black.
Exactly. It's not. So let's make sure that that you're following the rules and you know like which of these things can actually benefit you, and understand that that for a lot of this analysis, there's potentially extra fees that you're going to need to pay your advisors to do to help you navigate this. But as you think about getting the average Paycheck protection loan for the first round was $200,000. And as you're thinking about the potential of managing a $200,000 forgivable loan and paying some extra fees to help you do the analysis and make sure it gets done right, it's worth it. It's worth it to make sure it gets done right.
Absolutely.
So don't be afraid to ask for help on this to make sure you do it right. Don't be afraid to pay for the analysis on this to understand what your options are. There's so many options out there. There's things that I haven't even listed today because they haven't been the most popular questions. But make sure you're talking to your advisors, getting advice, really looking at where you're at for cash flow, thinking proactively so you're not getting to payday and going, oh crap, I don't have enough money to pay everybody.
Mm.
You want to know that ahead of time, and you want to plan for, if you do have to lay people off, what their options are. If you do get the Paycheck Protection Program loan, what your options are. Make sure you're on top of this and really thinking ahead a few weeks.
Great advice once again. And as always, if somebody has a question specific to them, they can leave it in the comments and we'll make sure and circle back. Or there's a button right on the Facebook page to send a message and connect directly with you. Right, Julie?
Yep, absolutely. Feel free to hit the contact us button. Let us know what you need to talk about, and we will set up a time to chat with you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for some clarity on this.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.